This evening, we start with a report where Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa and his driver Dasra Dibian will bring you the details of the incident, including the preliminary investigations and the current status of the individuals involved. We'll also touch on the ongoing inquiry and the steps taken by law enforcement following the collision. Next, we move to a tragic story from Victoria, East Coast Demerara. An altercation at a party early Sunday morning resulted in 2 fatalities and 2 severe injuries. We'll delve into the circumstances that led to this violent incident, the identities of those involved, and the latest updates from the police investigation. In legal news, Ghana's Court of Appeal has made a significant ruling regarding an election petition. The court dismissed the opposition's attempt to reinstate the petition, reaffirming the High Court's stance on GCOM's constitutional order. The court dismissed the opposition's attempt to reinstate the petition, affirming the High Court's stance on GCOM's constitutional right to order a recount of the March 2020 general and regional elections. We'll examine the implications of this decision and the reasons behind the ruling, including the question of cost awarded to the respondents. Switching to international news, we'll discuss Chile's recent vote to reject a new conservative constitution, opting to keep the text draft during the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet. With the majority of Chileans voting against the new text, we'll explore what this decision means for the nation's future and the potential implications. Lastly, we'll address the concerns in the global anti-tobacco movement. Recent reversals of measures in New Zealand and Malaysia aimed at banning smoking for future generations have raised questions about the momentum of this worldwide campaign. We'll analyze these developments and what they signify for the anti-tobacco movement. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for December 18, 2023. I'm Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa and his driver Dasra Dibian received medical attention for minor injuries and were discharged after a road accident in West Coast Berbice last evening, December 17th. Preliminary investigations revealed that around 5:48 p.m., Minister Mustafa's vehicle, driven by Dibian, was traveling west along the southern side of Fowlis Public Road when motorcar PYY 7716, driven by 38-year-old Delon Campbell of Stanleytown, New Amsterdam, Berbice, heading east, attempted to overtake a black field wagon. This maneuver led to a collision with the right side of Minister Mustafa's vehicle. When extracted from the motorcar, the minister and his driver were conscious and immediately transported to Balwant Singh Hospital for medical attention. After examination and treatment by a doctor, they were both discharged with minor injuries. A breathalyzer test was conducted on Campbell, the driver of the motorcar, but showed no trace of alcohol. Meanwhile, CCTV footage of the incident has been obtained for further investigation. The driver is assisting with the ongoing inquiry, and a notice of intended prosecution has been served. Also making the headlines, a violent altercation at a party in Victoria, East Coast Demerara early Sunday morning resulted in 2 fatalities and 2 severe injuries. Dead are 24-year-old Mason Yofi Bob of Victoria and 26-year-old minor construction worker William Montrose of Sideline Dam, Victoria. Meanwhile, a 25-year-old plumber Delek Skeet and 19-year-old Mason Sion McFarlane obtained serious injuries. According to a police report, Bob, Skeet and McFarlane allegedly attacked Montrose during the party, forcibly taking his gold chain. In response, Montrose left the event but returned wielding a cutlass, inflicting injuries on all 3 assailants before fleeing. Bob succumbed to his injuries upon arrival at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, while Skeet and McFarlane were admitted, with Skeet in a serious condition and McFarlane in stable condition. Bob had severe wounds on his right side shoulder. Police later discovered Montrose's body in a trench about 500 feet north of the incident, facing upwards with multiple wounds, including on his forehead, left upper chest, and right jaw. A knife was found tucked in his left side waist. Montrose was pronounced dead at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Investigations are ongoing, with several individuals questioned in connection to the incident. Moving on, Ghana's Court of Appeal has dismissed the opposition's attempt to reinstate an election petition, affirming the High Court stance that the Ghana Elections Commission, GECOM, had the constitutional right to order a recount of the March 2020 general and regional elections. Justice of Appeal Rishi Prasad and Don Gregory emphasized that Section 22 of the Representation of the People's Act empowered GECOM to address difficulties in executing its constitutional functions. They noted that the then President David Granger and opposition leader Barry Jagdeo agreed upon the recount. The court found no violation of the separation of powers, with Justice Prasad emphasizing the importance of elections being determined at the ballot box rather than in the judicial system. Chancellor of the Judiciary, Yonit Cummins, stated that GECOM operated within its powers and that there was no breach of separation of power doctrine. The question of cost was discussed, with arguments for each party bearing its own costs and for the appellants to pay costs due to the matter's constitutional significance. Nevertheless, the court awarded costs in the sum of $150,000 each in favor of the 4 respondents who participated by way of submissions. Stick around when we return. Guyanese Girls Code Program empowered 166 participants in ICT skills, and inmates enjoy Christmas family bonding visits with loved ones.
Giving you the best Christmas with Digicel.
Digicel is bringing you the best deals, the best prices, and the best cash prizes. Hold on to your Santa hats, because there's up to $50 million in cash to be won. Activate any data plan, and you can be one of 14 winners to join Digicel's Spin to Win game show, where you can win millions in cash. Activate a data plan today on the best network and make this Christmas the best one yet.
Digicel.
It's Christmas at Kissoon's Furniture Store. We are fully stocked for the holidays with a wide variety of furniture to choose from store-wide. Beautiful sofas, dinette sets, rugs, pillows, foam and hybrid cooling mattresses in all sizes, beds in king, queen and single sizes, and so much more. Come on down to our mega store or our Rob Street location. Merry Christmas from Kissoon's Furniture Store.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Hello, my fellow TikToker followers. He is Credit, and today all we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and poise cake. For the noodles, all of these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, white spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you wanna know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, jerk seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radica went to the supermarket and she probably buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. She shaped like a guy in a map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Welcome back. The Guyanese Girls Code Program, facilitated by the Office of the Prime Minister's Industry and Innovations Unit, successfully concluded with 166 girls aged 12 and above completing the initiative. The program ran from July to October and focused on imparting ICT knowledge, including coding, programming, robotics, microbit, and video game development. Regions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 10 participants engaged in 4 cohorts, with the first 3 delivered online and the final conducted face-to-face. There are plans to expand the program to additional regions in 2024. This initiative aims to address gender disparities in the ICT sector and cultivate essential ICT skills among young females. The Industry and Innovation Unit Director, Shahrukh Hussain, emphasized the unit's commitment to enhancing Ghana's ICT sector through education and awareness. The program participants were encouraged to pursue opportunities in the growing ICT sectors. The theme for this year's program was Digital Skills for Life. In other news, inmates from across various prisons in the country were granted unique family visits as part of the Christmas family bonding visits initiated over the past 2 weeks. The unique aspect of this program allowed families to share a meal and dine with their incarcerated loved ones in a more normalized environment. During these emotional charged visits, families and inmates embraced each other with hugs, shared meals, conversed, and took time for photographs. The experience generated a sense of gratitude among both family members and inmates for the extended time they could spend together. Director of Prisons Nicola Elliott praised the staff members who were involved in overseeing the event. He emphasized the awareness of the impact of incarceration on families. He stressed that the role of the prison service is not to hinder, but to promote and maintain familial bonding. Elliott noted that the Ghana Prison Service has worked with prisoners and their families for years and appreciates how daunting an experience can be for everyone involved. He said the prison service will continue to offer practical and emotional support for inmates and families. Don't go away after the break. Thousands flee as war reaches Sudan's second largest city and global anti-smoking movement. Setbacks for push to end tobacco-related deaths.
Giving you the best Christmas with Digital.
This Christmas, it's all about the best. Digicel is bringing you the best deals, the best prices, and the best cash prizes. Get half off and a whopping 50 gigs of data when you purchase the Samsung A04 for just $14,000, the Samsung A14 for just $29,000, or the Samsung A24 for just $35,000. That's right, half off and 50 gigs of data. It doesn't get any better than this. So why wait? This Christmas, buy nothing but the best. Offer good while stocks last.
Digital.
Sneak clearly with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Current smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
It's Christmas at Kissoon's Furniture Store. We are fully stocked for the holidays with a wide variety of furniture to choose from store-wide. Beautiful sofas, dinette sets, rugs, pillows, foam and hybrid cooling mattresses in all sizes. beds in king, queen and single sizes, and so much more. Come on down to our mega store or our Rob Street location. Merry Christmas from Kissoon's Furniture Store.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Chile has voted to reject a new conservative constitution, leaving the text drafted during the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet in force. With nearly all of the ballots tallied on Sunday night, more than 55% of Chileans voted against the text, compared with about 44% in favor. Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
The choice was simple.
A favor.
In favor.
En contra.
Or against.
En contra.
In the end, the message was clear. Just as the majority of Chileans had rejected a draft constitution last year seen as too far left, this time they voted against one that was widely viewed as even more right-wing than their current charter, written under Chile's former Pinochet dictatorship.
It's better to stay with the disgusting constitution of Pinochet, reformed by two progressive presidents, than to have this totally right-wing version that borders on fascism.
But some would have preferred this last offer to put the matter to rest.
I think it's gone on long enough.
3 years ago, Chileans voted overwhelmingly to draft a new constitution, amid widespread demands for constitutional guarantees of better education, health, pensions, and women's rights. But clearly, they feel let down.
This represents the radicalization of everything that was criticized about the constitution that we currently have.
The biggest irony is that after not one but two tries, Chileans will be left with their dictatorship-era charter for the foreseeable future.
I think the tragedy of all this is the failure of our political class. They were given two chances to address our problems, and they haven't been up to the challenge.
And perhaps that's why many feel that there have been no winners here, except perhaps those who've always refused to put the dictatorship's last legacy to rest. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Santiago.
Internationally, thousands of displaced people have fled the formerly safe city of Wad Madani in Sudan as the war between the army and the paramilitary rapidly support forces reaches the city. Al Jazeera's Itbasimi Gufang reports.
Already uprooted from their homes, thousands of Sudanese are fleeing again. After 8 months of conflict and more than 12,000 people killed, the number of displaced keeps growing. Since Friday, clashes between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces have spread to the state of Al Jazeera. A previously untouched region south of Khartoum, its main city had become a refuge for 500,000 people.
500,000 IDPs are in Wad Madani, and they were on the move to Sinnar, which is another city. It's like an hour's drive from Wad Madani. But there's fuel shortages. What would have been normally an hour's trip ended up taking 11 hours. So basically, people are just on the move.
As the battlefield extends south, the city of Wad Madani is no longer a safe haven. Crowds of families are forced to leave with whatever belongings they can carry. 14,000 people have fled the area so far. Back in April, what began as a power struggle between military ruler Abdel Fattah el-Burhan and his deputy, General Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, erupted into open conflict. Half the population in Sudan is in need of humanitarian aid.
We are warning of a looming hunger catastrophe by next year's lean season if we're unable to expand access and regularly deliver food assistance to people trapped in conflict hotspots. But we've only managed to reach the capital one time in the last 3 months.
Now, the UN says that funding for aid is running low. Most of the world's attention is focused elsewhere, with Russia's war in Ukraine and Israel's military campaign on Gaza. Meanwhile, Khartoum is a daily battleground, and war rages on the outskirts of Wad Madani, in what many fear is a new front in this war. Ibtisam Genfoud, Al Jazeera.
And finally, there are concerns that the global anti-tobacco movement is losing momentum. It follows the reversal of measures in New Zealand and Malaysia to ban smoking for future generations. Al Jazeera's Florence Lloyd reports.
This is the leading cause of preventable death. The WHO estimates tobacco kills more than 8 million people each year, including those exposed to second-hand smoke. Support for the anti-smoking movement is growing. Many governments are working to reduce the number of smokers, including New Zealand, where the number of people who smoke has fallen to 6.8%. The country was the first to pass a ban a year ago. This is now being reversed under the new administration, much to the disappointment of anti-smoking advocates.
I think it's important to recognise that politicians come and go, but the polling that we've done shows that denicotinisation, reducing the availability of tobacco products and the smoke-free generation, they're based on very strong evidence and they're very popular, and that evidence is never going to go away.
Malaysia too had a plan to curb smoking, but those provisions were ultimately dropped from proposed legislation. Public health experts say the opposition to such a ban is misguided.
It's felt that it is a ban on existing smokers and vape users, and therefore it is something of a deprivation of liberty right there. And that's where most of the objection lies. But the fact of the matter is, it's actually trying to protect our children, our grandchildren, and those who come after us from being addicted to nicotine to begin with.
Anti-smoking advocates find themselves going up against a powerful opponent, the tobacco industry. That's estimated to be worth $1 trillion by 2030. The British government has said it plans to introduce a new law that would prohibit cigarette sales in England to individuals born after January 1st, 2009.
It's highly likely that the tobacco industry would look to do things like judicial review, legal challenges. That's part of their playbook in the UK and around the world to try and chill the regulatory process and slow it down. But I know that our government has previously stood up to the tobacco industry, and I'm sure that they will stand up to them again.
England could end up being the first to impose a generational ban on cigarette sales. Florence Louis, Al Jazeera.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. Take 2. And that's Safe TV 2 headline news for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.